I think we had a lot of wild men on our football team. I think we had a lot of guys that were, gamers.
It's one of those things that you look back at now and you just say, well, wow. I mean, you probably had some of the toughest kids on that team at St. Paul, and then to have the teams that we had afterward, because we had some really good teams through high school. That to me showed the toughness of that group of kids.
We had a lot of great players, a lot of tenacious players who went on to play in high school and in college. I think when I looked across the line when I played at South, my senior year, I saw a lot of guys who played on that St. Paul team with me, including George Keza, even Pesci, I think, played at North.
When North played South, I always licked my chops because these are my friends. And it was like going out on the play field and playing kill a guy with a football.
It was sort of a unique combination team of the best players from the north side of the city and the best players from the south side of the city, all converging in this CYO kind of super team of 14 people.
It was a team of personalities. And but they weren't conflicting personalities. We just all did our own thing at that age, And we tolerated each other and thought each other was funny or idiotic. That was the best part.
I do remember one of the first practices, sitting in the locker room, the coach came in to talk, and I do remember the first thing that one of the kids told me was, "Hey, you got flat feet." So I had a big argument with him, and I think it was with Trey McLeod, whether I had flat foot or not. It was traumatizing to this day.
I remember Trey McLeod a lot during practice because he was one of the smaller kids on the team.
Train just was like a little flanker back, and quick as a bug. He was probably the smallest guy on the team, but he was fierce.
But he was fast. He could hit hard. Things didn't seem to really bother him when he came in there and hit you. You knew it.
And during practice, he would play nose guard, and as center, I was my job and duty to block this kid. And I'm sorry to say that he got around me more than he should have. I was embarrassed. He embarrassed me a lot during practice, just being able to put a move on me here or there to get by me.
What was the other thing? The swear jar.
Every time somebody swore, you had to put money in the jar.
You had to put quarter in every time you swear.
We had a kid on the team, Chris Pesci.
Chris Pesci was a bit of a troublemaker. I think he got a kick out of driving Talata a little crazy.
Chris wore it on his sleeve,
Oh, Pesci was pretty outspoken.
He's kind of a rebel, swore a lot.
I still have a foul mouth, so...
In fact, he had gotten fed up with all of Talata's little rules. We had a practice in the gym because it was raining outside. And the coach was making him run laps in the gym. And every time he did a lap, he would kick the door and say, "Fuck you," to the coach. The coach would say, "Yeah, that's a quarter." Then he'd run a long lap and say, "Fuck you," and kick the door again. The coach would say, "Yeah, that's a quarter."
We got a lot of aggression. And that was a way for me to release some, I guess,
The idea was, if we filled up the jar, we would be able to buy lunch.
Chris Pesci filled more than half of that jar.
And because of him, we were able to fill that thing.
And we filled it up pretty quick with Chris Pesci on the team.
I think we had lunch with that.
We thought it would be a really, really nice lunch, maybe surf and turf or something, but it was just a cold cut sandwich sub, pretty much.
We would all ride our bikes there before practice. Coach always said get there on time. We're actually 15 minutes early. He would come about 20 minutes late. We'd be all sitting on the bike racks, and a squirrel came running up, and we all decided to chase it around.
And we had kind of cornered the squirrel so it couldn't get off of the porch. And I remember Vince Mars standing there, and Vince was kind of a muscle-bound guy. He lifted weights a lot prematurely.
Vince was a big guy.
He was our musclehead guy.
He was like the big muscle-bounded dude.
He worked out down the basement at his house.
Well, I tell you, I was addicted to the iron. for sure.
I worked out like 5 times a day or something.
You know, I never touched steroids or anything. I just worked out like a maniac because I love to lift.
And this squirrel just dove in the air, landed right on Vince's shoulder, and then flew off into the brush nearby.
And the squirrel decides to land on my shoulders because it had a bigger landing pad than the other kids.
You know, to see the squirrel jump on his shoulder and him to freak out and throw the helmet, run around like a little girl.
He kind of lost his marbles.
And I remember the look on Vince's face when he turned around. Oh my God, did you see that? He couldn't believe that squirrel jumped on his shoulder.
We just kind of looked at each other like, holy crap, that didn't just happen.
When we were in high school, on a dare, Vince ate someone's pet newt at a party. I'm sure he's gonna be glad I brought that up, but so maybe it was like something, he's got something with the animal kingdom.
You know, I thought it was funny. I mean, it's probably one things that I remember besides, you know, Cunningham sliding around on the old shower floor.
I knew Jeff Cunningham from the Red Barons too, and he was kind of an unknown there. And when I got to St. Paul and found out that he was the quarterback of the team, I was pretty surprised because I don't remember him ever playing quarterback for the Red Barons. But that was neither here nor there. He was our guy.
Jeff Cunningham was an original character, for certain, but he had some athletic ability that certainly benefited the team. On top of that, he was just a ball of fun.
Well, Cunningham, he might have been the biggest character, I guess.
This is the kind of shit I remember after 40 years. He was obsessed with some kind of ham and cheese sandwich, right? And was that his nickname? Oh my God. I think we called, some of our audibles were ham and cheese too, I swear to God.
I remember Cunningham best for his antics, not only on the field, but also in the locker room.
Deep in the bowels of the St. Paul gym, down this concrete mortar stairway was the team locker room. A place where the lessons of curse words and towel snappings were plentiful, and where fundamental middle school masculinity took shape.
You know, and this is a Catholic school, so, you know, we're all brought up like Catholic, you know, Puritan style or whatever. So, I mean, you know, we never even really take showers in the showers there, you know, after gym class, you just get your clothes back on and go.
For some reason, Jeff Cunningham thought it would be a good idea to get a running start from out of the shower, from the hallway in the locker room, jump over and slide on his belly and everything else along the tile floor.
You got this Jeff like soaping up, running across the locker room, diving in the shower.
Yeah, Jeff Cunningham decided that he should slide into home plate, little Pete Rose into home plate in the shower, and dive on his stomach and slide across the tile floor.
Like, dude, what are you doing, dude? People are wearing slippers in here and you're dragging your balls on the ground.
He was sliding across naked, and
he was doing this over and over again. And he'd get a running start and he'd just slide on his stomach across the tile, the disgusting, probably diseased floor of the locker room shower.
You get up and he's all red, he's already red to begin with, he's all red after that, he's like, well, everybody else joining me?
Something wrong with this boy.
Seems like it might be a little painful, but...
Jeff Cunningham sliding across the floor in the shower was very disturbing, to say the least.
So Talata loved to have a little fun with the players. And he used to have this play called Kill Cunningham. And he was the quarterback, you know, so I was lineman and there were several other linemen with me.
I was playing running back, and I remember specifically Talata in the huddle. He said to me, Terry, come here, because Jeff isn't looking how he's dropping back. His footwork isn't right. We need to correct it, and here's how we're going to do it. When he snaps the ball, get on all fours behind him, and he's going to fall on you.
So Talata would tell us this when Cunningham wasn't around, and then you know, he'd come in the huddle, call us play.
And he went and told the defense that I was going to do this.
So they saw Kill Cunningham on one. So
he called it Cunningham Kill on one. I don't know why it was on one.
He would snap the ball.
And we would we wouldn't block.
And basically it was you guys got a free pass to run right through the line, there's no blocking, and we're going to come right through and hit Jeff.
So we would make sure that the entire line collapsed.
And so when Jeff dropped back, I got on all fours, he fell over me.
And everyone would rush to Jeff and tackle him and pile on him.
And then the entire team just dog-piled on top of him.
The defense came in there and we hit him, and we hit him right over to the bushes, into, I think it was the sidewalk.
I'm sure if that happened today, that coach would be immediately fired and probably the football program terminated because of abuse.
Well, this happened a couple times before he caught on.
One day, he actually squirted out, ran around, ran all the way down the road.
I remember Jeff fleeing the entire defense, running along the sideline for his life.
That was the one time that he got away from everybody and sprinted down the sideline in that little field and off onto the driveway at St. Paul, and nobody could catch him.
And got around everybody. And after he was done, he turned around and told us that he was quite a gazelle.
Mm-hmm. I'm quite the gazelle.
He dubbed himself the gazelle because he runs like a gazelle.
I didn't even know what a gazelle was, to be quite honest, but I guess it was an animal that could run fast, and Jeff thought he had speed.
I don't know. Why did he run and jump on the shower in his belly? Why was he the gazelle? You know, who knows? Who's cutting it?
Locke Bueller and Train McLeod and I were, I think, the only ones from the park who played on that St. Paul team. And we were outcasts, it seemed, at first, but slowly embraced by the rest of the team, especially when the girls came out for the team.
We were already in the season, I think, a couple games into it. And
the girls decided that they should have the ability to play on the football team. And so they decided they were going to come and try out for the team.
I don't know what it was. They were, I think it was Maryland led that whole little pack to try to come out for the team.
They wanted to prove themselves to their classmates, and so they asked Coach Talata if they could come out for the team and
put them through the paces on some physical exercise and running and down-ups and push-ups and all the other calisthenics that you had to do.
Being a team of 13 to 14 players, we welcomed them to the team.
As eighth graders, some of the boys on the team were a little concerned about them maybe even stealing their positions.
I think one of them took my position for a little while.
My position was not safe. That would have been a huge upgrade.
They're not going to take my position, right? You know what I mean? But then again, mine was just fill up the water bottles, I think.
Actually, Maryland made it through the entire Talata initiation of practice.
God bless her. I mean, she went through the practices, and and obviously back then, guys didn't want to have a girl on the team.
That may have lasted for a day or two, if that.
No, they were out there for like 3 days.
I can't remember if they made it a week.
I think Maryland lasted the longest. She lasted about a week and a half.
She was there for a few weeks.
And I think she was just about to get into pads when she told the coach that she wanted to quit.
And she gutted it out and gave it everything she had. And looking back at it, I mean, because back then it wasn't as kind as it is nowadays. And so I think people didn't take too kind to her trying out for the team.
Yeah, I think the pads were heavier than she was.
I don't think we ever found any shoulder pads that fit them.
I don't remember them ever putting on pads or a helmet.
She had never worn a cup before, so it's odd.
I think at the time it was fueled by some rebellion, but you got to say they were pioneers, right?
It was like it was a women's movement, which good for them. They quit, I think. They left.
But for the most part, I give her a lot of credit for doing what she did back then.
I give her credit. But at the end of the day, I'll look you dead in the eye. I didn't want him on the team.
Good for her for doing that.
So we never did end up with any girls on the team.
Happened more than once. I forgot my cleats for the game, and they're part of the uniform, along with shoulder pads and a helmet. And I was waiting for my mom to come to bring the cleats down, and maybe halftime she was going to be there with my cleats. And the coach was standing on the sidelines, full pads, but with brown topsiders on. Of course, my parents gave me topsiders, so they really weren't docksiders. They were the Kmart brand of docksiders, so I had topsiders. And the coach said, "Go in the game. I need you in the game." I'm like, "Well, coach, I don't have cleats." I don't get. "No, go ahead. I need you right now." So I ran out on the field in topsiders. I get to the huddle, and every single guy in the huddle, they all just looked down at my shoes.
And he's not wearing cleats, he's wearing these boat shoes. And I'm like, what the hell is that?
Didn't even ask me to play at all, but anyway, they just looked down at my shoes and said, "Hey, what are you doing? You have shoes?" And I go, "I don't know. Let's run the play." But then the coach called me back out. No, come on out. And so we're wearing red here, and I got brown topsiders on. I got out of the game quick. I got some water.
They hadn't had a football team in a lot of years, but the old equipment's still there.
We had the old high school pads and helmets and stuff.
You know, that stuff gets passed on from, you know, last year's group, the year before group, and, you know, exactly how many years prior to that, but it was used old equipment. It served its purpose, but nowadays you kind of look back at that and just think of the safety and how seriously somebody could have been hurt.
And I remember the helmets were all like nasty, all the equipment was nasty. And I remember the helmets, worst thing about them was, you know, kind of have a big forehead anyways, I still had one. And the pads were like, they were like this 20-year-old foam that was hardened, wrapped in 20-year-old plastic that was like cracked. So it was like digging into your forehead. And it was painful. It hurt bad. I thought that was part of football. I had never played before. I'm like, this sucks, but I guess this is what they do. It's crazy.
And I wore that first, and then they realized, we shouldn't be wearing that. You know, it was like wearing a bike helmet, in football.
I remember I had this Gladiator helmet, and the thing is twice as heavy as any other helmet.
You'd have a concussion for about a week, and then it would go away. So, I'm not sure what kind of damage that did.
Yeah, so it was a really small area.
You could basically run the plays from almost the same spot every time, and you would need all that distance, maybe 30, 40 yards at most, to use, and you wouldn't be able to go up and down like a field to do your practice.
I don't think it was ever really set up as a football field. It was actually a playground. And so somehow we were able to practice maneuvering around jungle gyms and swings.
And there was like some playground equipment around there and
slides, things of that nature, and somehow we still conducted practice while not running into poles. So again, only having 13 or 14 players on the team, we played half the line versus half the line.
I was just thinking about how did we practice any plays beyond 20 yards? I mean, without hitting a tree or a parked car or like a sewer grate.
Yeah, that could have been maybe 30, 40 yards long and about the same wide. And it was grass at the beginning, dirt at the end.
Yeah, it wasn't much of a football field by any means.
They made us practice on, it was like a corner, right? It was like that, it wasn't even a full field, it was like a corner of the parking lot, right? With a tree, and there was like a sewer grate.
And there was a grate that we'd always get really concerned with because some of us are like, stay away from the grate or you're gonna break your ankle on that thing. You know, it's nuts. So, but we made do with what we had.
But it probably wasn't the worst field that we played on. We played at our away game against St. Ambrose at Baldock Park in Detroit, and it was kind of a jank field. It was really kind of dirty and messy and a lot of litter.
Tires in the end zone. Those were the markers. Before the game, we would all stretch our arms out, and we would have parents or coaches behind us, and we would have to walk the field and pick up broken bottles
or needles or rocks or whatever.
Syringes, whatever you find in your typical football field.
Anything that was on the field that could potentially hurt us during during our game.
You know, it's like playing polo. You got to go police the field. Only instead of looking for turn up grass, we're looking for nails, glass.
We did a clean sweep of many fields that we played through.
Because we were such a small team, it gave everybody an opportunity to play a lot of different positions. I kicked off.
Yeah, it was actually pretty unique. You know, if you were playing D and you held your opponent, you just simply turned around and huddled up and you were the offensive team. But as far as getting tired, no, I don't remember getting tired. I mean, I think that, you know, being of that age, you had all the energy in the world to be able to play.
One game against St. Angela, I put the ball down on the tee and I looked across the field and it was raining on the kickoff return team, St. Angela's kickoff return team, and they were getting doused with rain, and meanwhile we were dry.
So what happened was I was sitting on the bench, I was like, holy cow, it's raining on the other side of the field. But it didn't rain on our side, it was nice.
Again, church, man, I mean, pregame church. We got churched up, so God he kept us dry.
But by the time I ran up and kicked the ball, of course I toe kicked it, by the time I kicked it, it was pouring down rain. And I think they actually called the game for a couple minutes while the rain kind of passed through. But I'd never seen anything like that, just this rain come across the field like that.
We had a lot of fun along the way. The only thing that really surprises me is that we were not undefeated. We had 2 losses against some pretty good programs.
We were 5-0. We needed to win, I think, 7 games to go to the CYO playoffs, which was a big deal at that time. And I think we played St. Clement, and they came in, I think, undefeated as well. And we had heard a lot about them, and they beat us pretty handily. So then we had the 1 loss, and we couldn't get another loss. And it came down to our last game. If we would have won that last game, we may have ended up in the playoffs and worked our way to the Silver Dome, which at the time was the ultimate goal, to get to the Silver Dome to play in the CYO championship.
And I remember the coach putting that on like the chalkboard or whatever as like the road to the dome, right? And honest to God, I don't even know if we won any games or if we won some of our games, but I know we didn't make it to the Silver Dome, but I know that was the goal.
That last game, we were real close, and then I think in the 4th quarter, we just kind of, we lost it.
I believe we went 5-2. We beat a handful of teams that we had always lost to in my previous 2 years with the program. So just to finally, in my last year, go out with wins against those teams that always beat us in the past was really special.
It's kind of remarkable, right? Thinking that this was 40 years ago, but that the memories from that season are so vivid, and the characters and...
Coach Andy taught us discipline that year. It's an awkward year, you know, when you're in 8th grade and you're developing and that type of thing. And I think that those foundations that he laid down helps you out through, the rest of your life.
I always thought that we felt like we were underdogs, maybe, in a way, because we weren't an established team. Nobody really knew who we were.
It wasn't just really about the football. It was about learning about how to work as a team.
We were all a team.
We all got along, you know what I mean? And I think everybody had that respect.
It was about uniting with guys that you didn't know from another part of town and working towards a single purpose.
Like working hard, getting along with people, being selfless, that kind of thing. That's part of being a team.
To me, it helped me be a better player when I got into high school.
Seeing results from hard work and learning how to take criticism from a coach who was willing to give it.
It was an opportunity for a lot of kids to play together and have a good team.
But just looking back at the talent that we had, just all guys who had tremendous success at the next level in high school football, and we had that all together in one place at St. Paul in 8th grade.
We had a lot of talented players, and so it was a lot of fun. That was the funnest year of football I ever played.
That was a group of really good football players, and who would have known?
We made mistakes, we did dumb things, but we learned from it and we went on, and all of us are, fairly responsible. adults.
We cobbled together the roster, we cobbled together the uniforms, we cobbled together the transportation. They made us practice on, we didn't even get a full field. I mean, it was not, let's just say it was not ideal circumstances to produce a winning football program, top to bottom. But what I do remember is, like, honestly, 15 of us sort of just doing it on our own. And the fact that we even, like, put a team together and were competitive in some of those games, that's a testament to, and a lot of us didn't know each other before the season, you know, and we're 8th grade kids.
I thought it was great, man. I mean, I look at it like one of the best times of my life.
You know, the fact that we even put a team together that was competitive is incredible, right? I mean, we basically did it on our own.
Well, at least from my perspective of my 3 years of St. Paul football, that was the best year by far.
You know, there's some guys that I haven't seen, I might not even remember their name, it's still like your friends, right? And then I've got some guys that are still my best friends, and quite a few of them, you know, from that. And that's like, that was like the point.
None of us wanted to lose, and we played a lot of better teams, but we were better because we were mentally prepared, and we were physically prepared, and, you know, having all 11 players uniting as one, it's life lessons. It's about responsibility, but having fun.
I talk to, you know, a lot of these guys probably once a week, you know what I mean?
A lot of them ended up going to high school with us, and we've stayed friends for a number of years. And I think it was because of that bonding experience at St. Paul.
You know, I cover football teams that have $1 million, $100 million budgets and thousands of man hours going to scouting and preparation and practice. And here we are, just 10 dudes basically, like I said, you know, basically drawing the plays up in the sand and spray painting our helmets and having a blast.
And I love the people that I was with every day, and we worked hard, we played hard.
Sports just brings kids and people together. And so while you didn't really necessarily have that in the beginning, certainly by the time you got done with your practices and your two-a-days and your, you know, through the season, you got to know these guys. So that was where the bonding was created. It wasn't obviously just merely just joining the team, but playing with them and then, you know, basically helping each other out and, you know, with that same goal.
I think that was the first time I played football where we really pushed, and I think it made the team kind of gel, come together. It's kind of an honor in a way, but on the other hand, you're like, it's too bad they stopped, you know, having it as available to kids.
I don't think a lot of kids get to have an extended period of time or a concentrated time like we had with a group of friends that did what they wanted to do with the most effort they could put forth without social media stepping in or somebody judging what they did, or I just think that we were extremely lucky to be in that situation.
Personally, I thought it was awesome that, you know, that we put a team together in such short notice, and I think we had fun.
You know, it's kind of, a lot of times we've gotten away from what sports is supposed to be, and that season, from the good to the bad, was really kind of an amazing season.
I don't think, at least I didn't, I think most of the guys I played with weren't thinking, hey, I gotta play football because I want a scholarship. No, they just want to play football. They just want to have fun.
Yeah, I just think that it was such a great experience for all of us to not just play for him, but to play for each other. We were such a small, tight unit of so few people that it forced us to work harder. It forced us to be better. And I think that was a great learning experience, not just learning about through a sport, but learning as young men how to be better people, how to be better teammates.
Now, you may look at what you just witnessed and think, where's the trophy ceremony? Where's the fairy tale ending? Or for that matter, where is the intrigue? But when you put it all together, you begin to see the sum of the parts. and understand just how important sports can be in shaping the lives of middle school boys. Boys caught momentarily in a vortex of pre-adulthood responsibility and early teen angst. The journey of the 1980 St. Paul Lakers football team wasn't really about winning on the field and coming in first. This was about winning in life, and taking home one of the shiniest trophies of all, the long-term friendships and everlasting memories that come with being one of the last.
The stakes were high, but not too high. We were too young to know the benefits of reaching for the sky. We dug in deep, one and all. We made a bond like brothers with each other. One amazing fall at St. Paul, where we played ball. Yeah, coach was on our backs, with our backs against the wall. We were strong, and we moved fast. We did everything we could to end up first, but we were last. It was our world until the end, sliding face down on the shower tile, not hard to comprehend, with helmets tight and standing tall. We didn't care, we didn't have concussion protocol. At St. Paul, where we played ball, if they gave awards for mediocre, by God, we'd win them all. But we had fun, and we moved fast. We did everything we could to come in first, but we were last. Now looking back, it's like a flash. Dreams were never realized and our 8th grade hopes were dashed. Our Laker blood still running red. Even now the memories of it keep running through our heads. At St. Paul, where we played ball. Yeah, our coach was on our backs, with our backs against the wall. We were strong, and we moved fast. We did everything we could to end up first, but we were last. We were last. We were last. We were last.
So it's a documentary celebrating our 8th grade football team.
Our what?
Our 8th grade football team at St. Paul.
You're kidding me.
We're recording right now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. What's your question?
What do you remember about St. Paul football?
Not much. I hardly played. So. Okay.
And cut.